Okay. Good morning, everybody. The time's 8:04. I'm going to call this special meeting to order. And that we do, in fact, have a quorum. We've got 4 board members on via Zoom, 5 on via Zoom, and I'm in person. And we're going to go ahead and dispense with some of our normal opening protocol and move right into our agenda for the sake of time. And moving on into the agenda, the first item is public forum, public comment. I understand that we have no public comments submitted for this morning. So we'll move over to item number 3, which is discuss and approve resolution adopting a one-time employee coronavirus stipend for the 2020-21 school year. I'm going to go ahead and read this proposed resolution into the record, and then we'll be looking for a motion. Resolution adopting a one-time employee coronavirus stipend for the 2020-2021 school year. Whereas the Wimberley Independent School District wishes to compensate all district employees for additional duties performed as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, and whereas all district employees provided service to the district above and beyond their job description, showing adaptability, cooperation, and performance, promoting student safety under the unique environment presented by the coronavirus pandemic, and whereas the district would like to provide the one-time coronavirus stipend this school year, which will be paid on May 26, 2021 to all district employees who have been employed by the district and remain employed through the conclusion of the 2020-2021 school year. And whereas the district shall be reimbursed by any employee who receives a one-time coronavirus stipend if the employee does not remain employed by the district either voluntarily or involuntarily through the conclusion of the 2020-2021 school year. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Wimberley Independent School District, that the district shall issue a one-time employee coronavirus stipend in the amount of $150. The one-time coronavirus stipend will be payable on May 26, 2021 to all district employees who have been employed by the district and remain employed through the conclusion of the 2020-2021 school year.
Can I ask a question?
Yes. Yes.
What is the date of the end of the school year that this is referring to many times? Is that in May or June or August? Okay, so the 2021 school year does end at the end of May.
Our fiscal year ends.
For purposes of the stipend, I guess. I mean, what's the date that they have to stay quote unquote employed?
For teachers.
26.
May 26. So as long as they stay employed through May 26, 2021, they would get this stipend. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So moved.
Hey, Dwayne, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you thought, or has Moises given any pencil to pen concerning lifting this stipend from say 150 to 200 or 250 per employee?
Well, so at the onset of this, we had started with 100, and then within probably 2 or 3 days after we had this discussion, we did get information, and I sent you an email on our federal ESSER funds, and we're still looking at what we can spend these funds on, but this helps us get out of the red, is what we're hoping. We still haven't done the final calculation. So that's why we said, well, at 150, that would be 68,000. And it'll probably be a little more than 68,000 just because we want it to be a net of 150. So it might end up being 69, maybe 69.5.
I certainly would. I certainly would amend the motion that Joe read And Lori, I think, seconded to lift that stipend to a net of $200 per employee.
I mean, I'm assuming that would increase this amount by what, maybe $10,000 if we did that? $15,000?
15 to 18. Yeah, 15 to 18.
Okay,
Break the
I would
bank.
happily accept that amendment.
We hear from Moises.
Yes, please. Given that we've had this thing for a couple of days, and it would have been nice had they been given a heads up that somebody was going to want to see these numbers. Hopefully Moises has that.
Oh, are you talking about the ESSER funds?
No, what the difference in amounts.
Yeah.
If we went to 200.
Yeah, if we're going to raise it, I want to hear from our financial guy that says it's feasible for us.
Okay.
Yeah, he was here, he stepped out, we're gonna bring him back in.
So we had calculated the 145 and we calculated the 150 at 68. I mean, Moises and I both did those calculations. And so if you go off of that, the difference between the two is about 20,000 for the $50 increase.
So you're talking about either 69,000 versus 89,000 for
Yes.
the entire district.
Yes.
Right. I mean, personally, I would think that that is, you know, the minimum of what we should offer our teachers if we can afford that, which I think we can, given our financial situation overall, that we should do it.
I agree, but I'd like to hear from the guy who has his
Yeah.
fingers in the money.
Moises is on his way, I believe.
Yeah, he was in here, he stepped out, he'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
That's fine. No, I mean, I agree it's important to hear from Moises, but I mean, given our financials that we've been looking at over the course of every month, I think we're in shape to do that.
Yeah, I'd like to give each teacher $100,000, but I mean, I have to know.
We may not be in financial shape to do that. But.
Yes, but I'd like to know what the guy says.
Yeah, I would like to have a little input as to why that was the number that was chosen by our administrative team to be presented to us.
So at first, there was no indication whatsoever what the governor was going to do with ESSER funds. And then we really feared, were we going to remain a fast growth school, which would have been a difference of almost $600,000 in next year's budget. So over the course of the last couple of days, we've been receiving information that number one, we're on the fast growth list, and the calculation had changed to 6 years versus 3 years of average growth. So we found out that we are going to get those funds plus a little more. We have tried to run a template with just the number of students that we used last year. But the one thing that we're still going to protest is we're protesting the commissioner's maximum compressed rate. And we can't do that until he's come out with the final. He's given us an estimate. I mean, it's just really low. So here's Moises.
Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Just to give you a heads up, a motion was made to adopt the resolution, and then an amendment was made to increase the amount of the stipend to $200. And a couple of the board members have requested that you explain sort of the implication of that increased amount, and then just maybe a little bit of an overall understanding as to where these funds are coming from and how we've settled on these amounts or this amount.
Okay, so the original proposed amount at $150 per stipend per employee would cost the district a total of $60,750. On top of that, we need to consider at least a 3% benefits, basic benefits. And this is just assuming an employee with a basic, single dependent, taxes. So without having to do all the work or my staff to do all the work for calculating the different types of tax categories, I went with just an estimated basic tax of a single tax return per employee. So that's how I came up with a 3%. So on top of the 60,000, I just added about $2,000 more. So the entire cost for this $150 stipend would be $62,573. If we increase that to $200 per employee, that would be a total cost of $83,430, which is an increase of $20,000 in there. And the way this would be funded would have to be out of the general fund. And of course, this is not anticipated at this point, so we will have to amend the current budget. Any other questions? Does that make sense?
How does that affect our bottom line? Is it something we can afford to do easily?
Okay, so at this point, since we have seen an increase in the ADA due to a result of the increase in attendance, we could have we could end up the year with a very a smaller deficit that we had anticipated originally. We are still waiting also, and the good news is that we received just last week, I'm pretty sure you all are aware of the new ESSER funding that's been distributed to school districts. So some of the current expenses that we have in our general operating budget could be allowable under that fund, under those grant funds, and then we can reclassify some of those allowed expense into that grant, thus reducing the deficit that we currently have. So we could end up the year with a very small positive figure, but not such a big deficit as we had originally anticipated.
Moises, this is Rob. Whether it's 69,000 or 80 some odd thousand that you cited for the $200 bonus, both of those, they would all come out of the general fund, I presume, correct?
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
You'd feel comfortable with that's going to the 200, Moises?
It's an additional 20,000.
Here, I mean, Moises may not, I mean, you can be in a position to answer that if you want, Moises.
Yeah, I think we can survive.
Yeah.
I think we can.
What's our current fund balance, Moises?
Our current fund balance as of the last report that I gave you, I believe it was close to 18 million, a little over 18 million. But the audited, which is the one as of August 31st, 2020, is about 8 million. It's close to 5 months operating expenses.
So just remember that 18 million, we have not paid out payroll on May, June, July.
Yes.
And
Right, but the audited one, I mean, I'm just saying, we're in a very strong financial position, and we're talking about $20,000 here, and given everything that our teachers have done, and our staff, all our staff have done throughout this whole year, I feel like that's just, you know, the minimum that we should do to thank them, and I think it's just totally, you know, doable. And that's my opinion, so anyway, the motion is on the table as amended.
And I will second the amended motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the amended motion. Any further discussion?
Thank
Okay.
you, Moises, for coming back and talking to us.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Yeah, the explanation's helpful. Of course, we all wish we could even do more than this, but we're happy to be able to do this. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay.
My hand is raised.
Okay, thank you. Looks like it's unanimous. Motion passes. Great.
Excellent, thank you. Thanks, Moises, and everybody.
Thank you all for that. Appreciate y'all bringing this to our attention and putting this together. We're excited about it. All right, next item on our agenda is our closed session. I'll read this. The board may adjourn into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.071. The board may then re-enter into open session for further discussion, necessary action. Closed session items may include personnel matters, new hires, terminations, employee discipline, Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, consultation with attorney, Texas Government Code, Section 551.071. The time is 8:19, and we're going to recess immediately into closed session. Okay, the time is 8:33. We're back out of closed session into open session. Do we have any action?
I would move that we offer a contract to Kenneth Gustafson.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion. Tracy, who made the second?
Rob and I both did, but either way.
Okay, Dottie, you take your pick.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand.
My hand is raised.
All right, then that's unanimous.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yes.